Right. Good morning, everyone. Great to see everyone. Welcome. State Route 37 Policy Committee. Today is Thursday, July 10th. We'll officially call the meeting to order. Good to see everyone from this committee, staff, everyone in attendance today, members of the public that are joining us. Now that we have called the meeting to order, we'll start with a roll call.
From the County of Napa, Councilmember Mark Joseph.
Here.
Supervisor Amber Manfrey.
Here.
Mayor Pierre Washington.
Here.
From the County of Marin, Councilmember Pat Eklund.
Present.
Supervisor Milton Peters.
Here.
From the County of Solano, Supervisor Mitch Mashburn.
Here.
Mayor Andrea Soares.
Here.
Supervisor John Vasquez.
Here.
From the County of Sonoma, Councilmember Victoria Fleming is absent. Supervisor David Rabbit is absent. Vice Chair Supervisor Rebecca Hermosillo.
Here.
And from the County of Marin, Chair Supervisor Eric Lucan.
Here.
Great, you have a quorum.
Wonderful. And from the expanded partnership, do we have folks that are joining us?
Yes, and I will also just introduce the executive directors and general managers real quickly. So from MTC, Executive Director Andrew Vermeer, representing Caltrans, Ong Mong, representing NVTA, Executive Director Danielle Schmitz, representing TAM, Executive Director Ann Richmond. Let's see who else. From Sonoma, David Raperda, and from SMART, General Manager Eddie Cummins. And from the expanded partnership, let's see, Jenny Calloway. And also, if you're in the expanded partnership and you're in the attendees, please raise your hand and we'll move you over. Nick Burton.
It looks like we also have, is that Brendan Sweeney from?
And Brendan Sweeney.
All right, and if others join, we'll make sure we recognize you as well. Thank you so much for all of those that are here. Jennifer, you want to give brief instructions for those joining remotely as well for public comment when that time comes?
Yes, for those wishing to make a public comment, you may do so at the time the chair calls on it, or you can raise your hand and we will allow you to speak. There's a 3-minute limit per comment.
Great. Well, thank you for that. I will mention for my colleagues up here, the microphones, you kind of have to push the button a little hard. If the red light is on, the mic is on. So we'll go ahead and move on right to our consent calendar. Item 2.1, which is really just the minutes from our last meeting. Any questions or comments on these?
Okay.
Any public comment on consent? We'll start here in the room. Any online?
I don't see any hands raised at this time, Chair.
All right, can we have a motion for the consent calendar?
I'll second.
Let's see, I think, was that Supervisor Vasquez on the motion, second by Councilmember Eklund. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Moving right into discussion items. First up is item 3.1 on communications with Bart from Caltrans. Oh, not Bart.
Hello. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, committee members. I'm Ricky Gao from Caltrans. Bart Ney cannot make to the meeting, and I'll be in for him fill in this item on the communication. So, as we know, State Route 37 have the weekly integrated communication meeting, and we invite everyone who is interested to participate in the meeting to get all the latest information on State Route 37. The integrated communication team is currently finalizing the corridor communication plan, and we hired a consultant, MIG is working on that. And also we are upgrading the graphics for the partnership and should be complete with a new draft of the communication plan by first week of August. On the project side, we have the Fairgrounds and Divergent Diamond Interchange project in Solano side that is moving smoothly in construction. We had a groundbreaking ceremony last year. The actual construction work started earlier this year and is on track to wrap up in early January of 26. Motorists can see the progress on the construction side of the currently we are doing the retaining wall, which should have its final concrete pour this week. Contractor has also enhanced the signage and striping for the bus stops. Also, we are continue coordination with City of Vallejo on updates to the plans and to the communities. And also, the integrated communication team is working on new animation for the public release about the Divergent Diamond interchange to show how the ease of navigation through the interchange as well as how it works. So that's the Fairgrounds project. Also, the team released the program report as this is the last quarter for June 25, and the link is attached to the agenda. So that is all the update from the communication. Any questions?
Great, thank you. Any questions? No, not seeing any. Well, thanks for the update. We'll see if there's any public comment. Not seeing anybody rushing to the front here in the room. Any online?
There are no hands raised at this time.
All right. Thank you for the update.
All right, thank you.
We'll move right on to item 3.2, which is near-term Sears Point to Mare Island Improvement Project update. I'll welcome Javier.
Good morning, Policy Committee. Do we have slides up? Or okay, we're just looking on. Oh, okay.
We'll get them up.
All right. All right, so good morning. My name is Javier Mendeville. I'm the Regional Project Manager for SR 37 from the Caltrans side. And I'll be giving a brief update on Sears Point to Mare Island Improvement Project. Next slide, please. So we've selected Kiewit as our CM for our CMGC delivery process on this project. We had our kickoff meeting in mid-May. It went really well. So we've brought them onto the team. They've joined our project development team meetings. And then that graphic just kind of shows the dynamic there. We have an independent cost estimator that we brought on to help us agree on costs with the CM Kiewit. And then we have our PLT partners on the lower left-hand side, and then MTC as a co-sponsor with AECOM as their consultant for some of the design disciplines. We just kicked off our first opinion of probable construction cost exercise. So it'll be our first pass at coming together on cost for the project. We started this month, so we'll probably wrap that up in a couple of months, and I'll keep the policy committee updated as we move along that process. Next slide, please. So moving on to schedule. As you know, we're working on finalizing our supplemental EIR, and just a reminder, that was to environmentally clear the strip marsh east restoration, as well as a couple of other design features that were added, including traffic management system devices like cameras and loops, as well as maintenance vehicle pullouts and relocate toll gantry location. And then the final document will also include responses to public comments that we collected back when we circulated the document publicly in December of last year. And we're expected to complete that by the end of July. So we're undergoing the final review of the document. All right, so moving on to the construction packages. Construction package 1 is Tully Creek Bridge replacement and the 37-121 intersection improvements. We've pushed out our schedule a little bit. So our 95% design got pushed out to October of this year. And then our ready to list milestone for design completion got pushed out to April 2026. The big reason behind pushing these out was to allow for enough time for permitting. So we were able to move some funds around and make that work. Moving on to packages 2 and 3. So that includes the Strip Marsh East restoration improvements, as well as the eastbound and westbound improvements. Our 65% design milestone is next month. And then after that, we'll be splitting up the eastbound and westbound into separate packages. So we'll be completing the design for the eastbound package number 2 in August 2026, in about a year. And then the package 3, westbound direction, is to be determined because we haven't quite finalized our funding plan. But more on that, Kevin will share the rest of the funding updates that will help inform some of those decisions.
Thanks, Javier. Next slide, please. Everyone, my name is Kevin Chen with MTC. Yeah, so a little bit of good news to share out. A couple of weeks ago, the CTC approved $73 million from the SB1 program for the Sears Point to Mare Island Improvement Project. This is a very significant amount of funding. It's by far the biggest funding that we received to date on this project that would really allow us to move forward with phase 2 of the project to complete the eastbound direction improvements. I just want to acknowledge the additional support letters that we received leading up to the meeting, including our transportation agency partners, Supervisor Hermosillo. I just want to give also a special shout out to Supervisor Morton Peters, as well as Mashburn, for really attending the CTC meeting in person and expressing the support for the project and the importance of this project to be able to receive that funding. So we got the approval for $73 million. Again, that's great. I also want to mention that we actually applied for another $25 million under a separate SB1 program, which unfortunately we did not get. So we are currently working with the partners to come up with a plan to come up with the additional $25 million so that the project can move forward next year, end of next year, as Javier said earlier about the schedule. So that's where we are with the funding. And the table here on this slide kind of shows you the cost breakdown by each phase. So the first phase to replace the Tolley Creek Bridge and the 121 intersection is estimated about $94 million, again, fully funded. Phase 2, the eastbound improvements, including the Strip Marsh East, is at about $251 million. Again, we need to secure that $25 million so that that full package can move forward. Last but not least is phase 3 for the westbound direction, estimated at $155 million. So altogether, the project total cost is $500 million. And I'll mention that this cost estimate was developed, it's been about 2 years now, at the completion of the environmental phase earlier on. So as the project progressed further into the design phase, those estimates will get updated. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure that everyone's made aware that cost estimates does get updated as the design move forward. So that's something we'll need to keep an eye out on. The other thing is environmental mitigation. The project estimate does include some mitigation costs in them. But as we go through the permitting phase with the regulatory agencies, that's something that's going to be negotiated and finalized during the permitting process. And because this project does provide a lot of environmental benefits, including the Tolley Creek Bridge, as well as the Strip Marsh East. So we're trying to leverage those environmental benefits to be able to help us negotiate any additional mitigation that's required as part of the project. So that's something that we also need to monitor as we go on. Last but not least is that we're going to have ongoing coordination with the FHWA on the implementation of tolling on this project. I just want to note those as risk as we continue on with the project. Last slide, please. The last slide is just a visual that shows the 3 work packages or 3 phases of the project that we've been talking about. Phase 1 is what's in red color, the intersection improvements at 121, as well as the Tolley Creek Bridge replacement. Again, construction will start in Q3 of 2026. Phase 2 is in the green color, eastbound direction from west of 121 all the way to Mare Island. Again, just an eastbound direction, including the Strip Marsh East. And construction for that is currently planned for late 2026. Phase 3 is really pending on future funding. And we got the good news on the current SB1 cycle. So I guess we're already gearing up for the next SB1 cycle coming up pretty soon. And we're hoping to through the next round of funding that we can get some funding for phase 3. With that, that concludes our update for this project, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Javier. Any questions? All right, not seeing any. We'll go to public comment on this. Not seeing any here in the room. Any online?
Don't see any hands raised at this time.
Right. Well, if there aren't any, we'll go ahead and bring it back. This was just an update. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Javier. So we'll move on to item number 3.3, moving right along in our agenda, which is an update on the fully protected species legislation. I believe Daryl Halls has given this update.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. In the spirit of continuing the good news and progress being made, the legislation protected species last month cleared the assembly floor, 70 votes in favor, 9 abstentions. This week, it made its appearance in the first Senate Committee on Natural Resources. It was passed 6-0 vote with 1 abstention. I want to thank Commissioner Moulton Peterson and Mitch Maspen for the lobbying efforts. Also, staff from Caltrans, MTC, the 3 county TAs, and all the people that supported it. It took a collective effort. The next step is going to the Senate Appropriations Committee, where it's supposed to pass on consent. Then it goes to the Senate floor, and then Senator McGuire has indicated his support for the bill. So it's good news. We're making progress.
All right. Thank you, Daryl. Any questions on this one? Okay. Public comment. I'm not seeing any hands up. Give everyone a little more time. All right. There's no public comment on that. We're just going right through this agenda. All right. There you go. Item 3.4, long-term Novato Creek Bridge replacement. Welcome back, Javier.
Hi again. All right, so update on the Novato Creek Bridge replacement project. As you know, the scope is to replace Novato Creek Bridge with the elevated structure that'll address recurring flooding and sea level rise to projected year 2130 elevation. And this is the first phase of our SR37 long-term ultimate resilience program. Novato Creek Bridge replacement is the first construction package of the larger flood reduction project, which spans between 101 and Atherton Avenue, 2.5-mile stretch. Next slide, please. So I do have some good news. I have a funding update. The state has contributed an additional $65 million of SHOP funds to cover our existing funding gaps. So we're fully funded and we're ready to go on this. Just to cover the rest of the funding, so $75 million in state SHOP funds, $15 million from Senator McGuire's Assembly Bill 179. Big thank you to him. $155 million in IIJA Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, and $25 million in Regional Measure 3 funds. So big thank you to Tam for helping us secure those. Next slide. So here's our schedule. I'll jump to where we are right now. We're working on permit application submittal. We started developing them. We're sending our first permit application to NIMS next week. And we'll wrap up all the permit application submittals by the end of the summer. Our complete design target is May of 2026. So that's when we need to complete the design in order to adhere to the IIJA funding requirements, which requires us to allocate the funds by August of next year. So it's a hard deadline and we're on target to meeting it. And then construction will begin the following year, May 2027. That wraps up my update. I can take any questions.
Great. Thanks, Javier. Any questions on this one? Councilmember Eklund.
I was kind of curious, you said permit applications submitted. Can you explain where you submitted the permits and permit applications, and describe a little bit of what the process is going to be?
Right. So the first one that we're submitting is National Marine Fisheries Services. Okay. We're submitting those ones next week through our liaison. That's a biological assessment.
Right.
That's usually the longest lead one. We've had trouble because of federal cuts, but I think they got their staff back, so we're submitting that one earlier. I don't know the order of the rest, but I know we're submitting a 401, 404, the water quality ones. I believe there's a Marine Corps permit. It's outside of BCDC jurisdiction, so we don't have a BCDC permit for this project.
So it is outside of BCDC's jurisdiction,
Correct.
but you're still going to go through the Army Corps of Engineers for,
Yeah, and then California Department of Fish and Wildlife.
okay.
We'll have a permit from them, stream bed alteration permit.
Okay, great. And there's no other jurisdictions that are permitting this bridge?
There could be, I just don't have the list on hand right now. I can have it for the next meeting, though.
Yeah, or just feel free to, you can send an email to us. That would be
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Javier, just one for me. I see that the design will be completed. I think you had, was it May of 26?
Correct.
At what point will there be a more kind of high-level overview of the design, maybe either through this policy committee or Transportation Authority of Marin? For those that are tracking this project, want to know a little bit more about the design and also how it will be phased in terms of construction, building an elevated bridge over an existing bridge. When would be the right time to, provide those details to the community?
I could check with my team. We could work on preparing additional visualizations. I know we're already doing that. So maybe later this fall, I can target to have that ready.
Great. I think that would be helpful. I don't know if it's, I'll leave it to the team to determine if that's for this whole policy committee or Transportation Authority of Marin or who that right body would be. And this is exciting. This is the first ultimate component that's going to be built of this entire 21-mile stretch, and trying to communicate to the public how do you construct that over an active roadway. Getting some of those early design renderings out, I think, would be an important step before it's complete and ready for project submittal.
And
Okay.
I think the people in Nevada were very interested to hear a little bit more about what it's going to look like and be able to provide some input into that as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you for that. Any other questions on this? We'll go to public comment. Anyone? Oh, wait, here we go. We got one. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Lucan and committee members, supervisors, members of the committee. My name is Joshua Arce. I'm a special assistant with the Northern California District Council of Laborers. We are one of California's fastest growing unions. In our case, in Northern California, we have 30,000 members from the Central Valley up to the Oregon border. I also represent and advise our coalition, the California Alliance for Jobs, which represents over 100,000 union members, working families, as well as 2,000 of our employers, contractors. And I came out because I don't want to speak too much to an item that was previously on the agenda, because I know this item's not on the agenda. But came out because we are increasingly, almost daily at this point, particularly in the North Bay, getting feedback from our members. These are, in the case of our union and other construction unions that we work with, these are the men and women who maintain your parks, your streets, clean out your everything that folks want cleaned in their areas and open spaces, street conditions in areas where your constituents want the best and brightest of your communities and neighborhoods. We're building housing, we're building the infrastructure. A lot of times, and probably 99.9% of the cases, we drive to and from work. Mostly it's because of our hours, or in cases of traversing the North Bay, maybe to work in Marin from Solano, going through Napa, Sonoma into Marin, or anywhere you're going, you're driving. And we're increasingly getting involved in situations where our members are wasting their lives and wasting their time with their families. We've been advocating to reopen that empty bike lane on the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge, where folks are waiting for hours to try to get from Contra Costa and Solano over to work in Marin. And it's a nightmare. Folks actually sometimes drive into San Francisco and then up the Golden Gate Bridge rather than having to deal with all that traffic. Same thing with State Route 37. I mean, folks I know in the area call it the nightmare of the North Bay when they're stuck, and God forbid there's an accident, then it's hours to get home. Same thing. I was just with members we have who work in refineries who are, some of that work's phasing out. They're driving to work in Marin, helping build infrastructure in Sonoma. They, again, have told me they'll literally drive into San Francisco and up rather than risk rolling the dice on State Route 37. So we're getting more and more involved. We want to make sure that item, again, I don't want to speak to the item that was earlier, but Lori Wilson's item, we love it. We really hope that'll sail through the legislature. There's a little bit of opposition. We're going to help work out to help try to come out and get more positive support from working people to make sure that happens. Enough is enough. Let's fix all of it. Let's fix short term. Let's fix long term. Let's do everything we can, because I'm sure you're hearing it from your constituents. So many of you are elected leaders in your communities. Folks want their lives back. Appreciate all your leadership, time, and support. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? We'll look online.
I don't see any hands raised at this time.
All right. Well, that concludes that item. Javier, thank you for the update. That actually concludes our discussion items for today as well. So is there any public comment for items that are not on today's agenda? All right. We might set a record. Oh, here we go. Come on forward.
Hi, I'm Kate Powers. I'm a resident of San Rafael. I would like, as the estimates for the interim project continue to evolve, I would like to know how the different, all of the segments of the Highway 37 are building towards a sea level rise adaptation project. So I understand how the Novato Creek Bridge segment is a part of that. I don't understand how the interim project is going to be a lead into adapting to sea level rise and not just a short-term fix. And I was just asking that maybe on a future agenda, there could be a review of the different segments and how they're building towards the ultimate project, how they're how the funding is going to move us forward as opposed to set us back in terms of getting there. And the last request is that on a future agenda item is my understanding of an interim project for Caltrans is that it then is removed or it is part of the future project. So I would like an accounting of how we expect to pay for the removal of the road widening portion of the project, where that to me should be part of the estimates of the interim project, so that we can get to the ultimate project and solve not only for congestion and people who are traveling on it, but also the free movement of water, sediment, and species through that area so that we can reconnect those historic marshes to the San Pablo Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment items not on the agenda? I'm not seeing any online. I see Daryl's got his hand up here, if that's a response. Let me just see, is there any other public comment?
I don't see any additional hands raised.
All right, Daryl?
It's not a response, but just a couple of noted items not on the agenda. We just completed an update to the transit TDM plan for 37, so probably the future meeting will give an update on that. That talks about as the HOV lanes are built. We'll have transit plans to correlate with that. Also, our State Route 37 Fairgrounds project's under construction. So when we host you guys in Solano County in the future, we'd like to have you come out to Mare Island and check out the fairgrounds. So be aware there is construction going on in their fairgrounds in 37. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. With that,
Chair
yes,
Lucan,
Councilman Reckler.
somebody addressed the sea level rise issue. That's a very good question.
I'll look to staff here.
And if not, then can we put it on the agenda for the next time so we can at least have some information about it?
Ricky?
Hey, good morning again, supervisors. Yes, we can put on the agenda to go over the long-term sea level rise adaptation plan, and also just a reminder to everyone, Caltrans completed the planning and the environmental linkage study for State Route 37, and we break down the 6 to 11 billion project into 8 segments. And also earlier, last fall, we did a prioritization effort to rank the 8 segments, and by looking at the flood vulnerability, cost, safety, efficiency, and engage the stakeholders of the route and including tribes, and we rank them. So we can provide a refresher in the next meeting.
That would be great.
Yes.
I think it's really important because a lot of us are looking at that with different lenses these days.
Sure. And also another note, we discussed previously, we're also working with SCTA to get a head start on the 121 intersection long-term project that is also moving forward pending on the funding. So we are making progress. So we can provide an update next meeting.
Great. Thank you with that. And also to the public commenter had mentioned the interim nature of the lane widening and what would happen with those materials when you move to the ultimate. I think as we start going through the design components of phase 2 and phase 3, maybe that's something we can provide a little update on as well when we get to those design updates.
Okay, noted. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Wonderful. If there's nothing else,
Sorry.
yes.
I was just going to
Yeah.
make a quick comment that I'm hoping that we'll be able to host on the 4th on Mare Island. And then by the next time it's Solano County's turn, we'll have you all out to the Diverging Diamond because I think it'll be done by then.
Wonderful.
So we're working on finding a good space so we can bring you all out to the island.
Great. That's a perfect segue into the future meeting schedule and future topics. I'll just look to my colleagues here if there's anything else anybody would like to add or any questions anyone has. All right. Not seeing any. Before we wrap this up, I want to acknowledge Jennifer from the Transportation Authority of Marin, who stepped into this role from Drew. It's her first full meeting here, and you did a phenomenal job pulling everything together. I know there's lots to manage and panelists and bringing people in. So thank you for stepping up into this role and being along with the County of Marin hosting this meeting today. So with that, our meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 4th. I think there's still some refreshments outside, so stick around and catch up, and we'll see you at our next meeting. Meeting is adjourned.
I think that's a record.